Hi, my name is Joy Casnovsky, and I'm the Program Director of the Happy Kitchen, La Cocina Alegre at Sustainable Food Center, and we're here today with Austin Fit to do a marinated beets recipe. So the first thing we want to do is look at our recipe and our ingredients. It's a really simple recipe. Basically, we are cutting up some cooked beets, mixing it with garlic and fresh parsley, and also a little bit of a vinaigrette and some mustard, and throwing it together. And this is a very simple recipe that you can keep in your refrigerator because it does have that marinated aspect to it with the vinegar. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Just chop the greens right off, and you'll end up with the beet and then a little tail, and you can chop that little tail off. And then what you'll have are the greens here. And what I generally do is the stem part, which is also edible. You can eat that, or you can also just take the leaves off, either with your hands or with a knife. Sometimes what I do, let's say if I'm going to put these beet greens, treat them like spinach or Swiss chard, is I will saute the ribs, which are a little bit tougher, with garlic and olive oil. And maybe some onion, and then when I put it in a frittata, or if I even put it in these sauteed vegetables like I'm going to do right now, they've softened up a little bit. So with the greens, I'm just going to kind of roll them up and do what's called a chiffonade, and basically that's just kind of creating ribbons out of the greens. All right, starting to hear that sizzle, which is what we want. So I'm going to throw in the onions. And if you wanted to caramelize these onions, that would obviously take a lot more time, but you could even do that and then toss the beet greens with them, and that would be excellent as well. And put in a little bit of garlic. And now I'm just going to take all those greens and just throw them in. And whenever you're cooking spinach or Swiss chard or beet greens, you just want to bring them to they're real bright, probably a minute or two. It doesn't take very long. I would say that's about done. You can definitely sprinkle it with a little bit of salt and pepper. And now we will get cooking with the main star of the show, but still important, is the beetroot. So I've cut off the greens, and I'm going to cut just a little bit more off. If you don't want to boil them, you can also steam them, and you can also roast them as well. So roasting definitely caramelizes those sugars in the beets a little bit more. It just kind of depends on your preference, also your time as well. And you can see as I'm chopping them, they're incredibly tender. So obviously after you either roast or boil or steam them, they're gonna be much softer than when you first started cooking them. And that's what you want. And you definitely want to peel them. It might sound intriguing to leave the peel on. You know, a lot of times we like to leave the peel on to get extra vitamins and such, but I will tell you the beet probably will not taste very good if you leave that peel on. And then the marinade is quite easy. Basically what you do is just add about 1/4 cup of olive oil or canola oil. I've got olive oil here. And then we're gonna add in some vinegar. I've got some apple cider vinegar here, a couple tablespoons. I've also got some mustard from Daidoue that they sell at the at the SFC Farmers Market downtown. Just stir that up. And that's essentially, you know, the salad dressing or the marinade. So now I want to add a little bit more flavor. So I've got some beautiful flat leaf parsley here. So what I'm going to do, the recipe calls for about 2 sprigs. I kind of like parsley, and it's also really healthy. It's got lots of other nutritional properties in it, so just like any green would. So I'm going to go ahead and add about that much parsley, see how that looks, and I'll add it. And just go over the top like this. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here. I've also got some garlic here. Let's just chop this up as if it were a green onion. We've got our dressing here. And then we've got our beets, and we've also got our parsley. And I'm going to put in our beets here. And our green garlic. Got my everything in there except for the parsley. So I'm going to put kind of a large pinch like that, see how that looks. And then stir it up. And it's such a pretty salad. It really, I feel like livens up your plate. And then I've got a little bit of salt here. Just going to salt it to bring out a little bit of those flavors, a little bit of pepper. And then what I would recommend is go ahead and let this sit for about 30 minutes if you can. Thanks for watching.